All right, let's go to number 13. So starting on number 13, again, I need to switch x and y. And that negative actually means a negative 1. I'm going to put the base of 10 that we're not seeing. And before I can loop, I've got to make sure that it is actually just the log. So I'm going to move the negative 1, which makes it a negative x. Okay. All right, now I'm ready to loop. So it's going to be 10 to the negative x power equals, and then everything over here. And now what I need to do to get y by itself is actually, I'm going to get a common base between 10 and 100, which is going to be 10. So that 100 I'm going to rewrite as 10 squared. And now, since the bases are the same, I'm going to cancel them out, focus on the exponents. And now to get y by itself, you actually have a couple options. On the review, on the printable one, I went ahead and distributed the 2. It's up to you. Then I'm going to subtract 2, and then I'm going to divide by 2. So here is my answer to number 13. Okay? All right, going to number 14. I'm ready to finish my last inverse problem. Again, I'm going to switch x and y. I'm also going to put a negative 1 in front of the log. So before I can do the loop, I got to get rid of the negative 1, so I'm going to divide. I'm also going to put my missing base of 10 there so you can see the loop. And now I'm ready to loop. And as I loop, it's going to go 10 to the negative x power equals y plus 2. And then my last step is just to subtract the 2. So up in the answer space is my final one. Whoops, and I put a 10 there. I just realized that should have been a 3, so I'll fix that in just a second. I was not looking at the right spot. So just kind of going back, that 10, these 10s that I'm erasing, they should be 3s. And then up here in the answer place. So it's 3 to the negative x power minus 2. Sorry about that. All right, let's hit the solving part. So on solving, I'm going to start with 15. The question I want to ask myself is to loop or not to loop. Look for constants. If there's a constant, I loop. If there's not a constant, I won't loop. So on 15, there is not a constant. So what I need to do is get a common base between 8 and 16, which is going to be 2. 2 cubed is 8, and then there's my exponent that was there. And 2 to the 4th power is 16, along with my exponent that was there. And now that the bases are the same, I can ignore them. The left side becomes 15x. Distributing my 4 through, I get 12x plus 16. And now, working to get x by itself, I'm going to subtract the 12x over to the 15x, and that becomes 3x. And then the last step to get x by itself is divide by 3. So my final answer is 16/3, which should go right up there. All right, number 16 is the same type of problem. There is no constant, so I need to get it so that the bases are the same. And my common base between the 64 in the denominator and the 16, again, is going to be 4. So on the left side, ignore that message, 4 to the negative third power, excuse me, is 1 over 64. And 4 squared is 16, along with the 9x plus 3 that's there. I'm going to ignore my 4's and then focus on what's left, negative 3, and then distributing my 2 through, I get 18x plus 6. And then just the basic algebra from there to get x by itself, I'm going to subtract the 6 over, so I get negative 9. And then when I divide by 18, I get negative 1/2 as my answer. And then that should go in that answer blank. All right, let's move through the solving part. 17, I finally have a constant, so I will be looping. I'll be looping the log into an exponent, but I can't loop it until the 7 and the minus 3 are gone. So that's what I'm going to do first. First, I'm going to add 3, and then I'm going to divide by 7. And I'm just going to leave that as a fraction because now when I loop it, it's going to be 5 to the 18/7 power equals x. And then just typing that in my calculator, you could actually, if you wanted to on this one, just leave it like that. But as a decimal, I get about 62.71. But you could leave it like this as well. Um, 18, there is no constant, and it's logs, and there's nothing to condense down, so I'm just going to ignore the logs, focus on what's left. And I'm going to move the 2x to join the 5x, and when I'm done, my answer is 5. Simple enough. All right, 19. There are 3 logs, and there's not a constant, so what I have to do is condense the left side, and that means that subtraction will be turning into division. So, and the 1/2 will move as an exponent. So, condensing it down, the left side becomes log 7 with 3 over, and I'll put it as the square root of x, equals log 7 with the 1/2. And then when I ignore the logs, what I can do then to solve for x is just do cross products. So I'll take 3 times 2 for 6. 1 times the square root of x is just the square root of x. And to get x by itself, I'll need to square both sides. So when I'm done, my answer is 36. Not plus or minus because I squared. I didn't square root. 20. Again, on the left side, there's a constant. I'm sorry, on the right side. But on the left side, I will have to condense it down to 1 log. And that addition will turn into multiplication. So it'll become x times x minus 2. I'm going to go ahead and distribute that in. And now bring the log back. And now when I loop it, it will become 3 to the first power, which is just 3, equals x squared minus 2x. So I'm going to move the 3 over because there's 2 types of x's I will have to factor. If I take a times c, I get negative 3. Here's my negative 2. So my factors are going to be negative 3 and 1. So I can set up my parentheses. And when I'm done, my 2 answers are 3 and negative 1. All right, let's go up to 21. On 21, again, there's a constant, so I'm going to have to loop it. But before I can loop it, I have to move the 4 over. And that's going to give me 9. And now I'm going to loop from an exponent into a log. And the base of my exponent will become the base of the log. So 3, and then 9 goes behind it, equals 0.1x. The change of base formula, for those of you who do not have that alpha math alpha feature on your calculator, if I type this in, remember to close the parentheses, that's worth 3. So from there, I get 3 equals 0.1x. I'm sorry, not 3. 2 equals 0.1x. So when I'm done dividing by 0.1, my answer is 20. All right, 22, no constants, but 3 logs, so I will have to condense the left side. Again, that subtraction will turn into division, and that multiplication will go back as an exponent. So 10 squared over the 4th root of x. I'm going to bring the log back. And then that's going to equal the other log. And now I can ignore the logs and do my cross products. So 50 times the 4th root of x, well, I'm just going to write it like this, 50 times the 4th root of x equals 10 squared times 1, which is 100. Now to get x by itself, I'm going to divide by 50, so I'm left with the 4th root of x equals 2. And to get rid of the 4th root, I'm going to take both sides to the 4th power. And when I'm done, x is 16, not plus or minus, because I took it to the 4th power, not the 4th root. All right, 23, can't loop yet, but I will need to loop because of that constant 18. I'm going to first move the 35 by dividing, and I'm actually going to just leave that as the fraction, 18 over 35, and now I'm ready to loop. It's going to become 6 to this exponent, equals x. If you want to leave your answer like this, that's fine. As a decimal, I get about 2.51. And the last one, and then I'm going to stop this video, is going to be the last one. And again, I have to loop because of the 1 and the 4, but before I loop, I have to move the 2/3 and the 1 to the other side. So first I'm going to subtract the 1 over, and that makes 4 turn into 3. And then to get rid of the 2/3, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. And when I do that, on the left side, I get 4.5. And I'm just going to use the decimal. And now I'm ready to loop it into the log. So looping it into the log, sorry about that. It's going to be log base e of the 4.5 equals the 4x. And again, the nice thing is that is just the same as the natural log, so pushing this into the calculator will be easier. The natural log of 4.5 is 1.504, and to get x by itself, I'll divide by that 4, so my final answer is 0.376. And there you go. That's the solving part. So the graphing is going to be the final video. Okay?